Fear is real right now, and pretending otherwise doesn't help. We have a choice to stay human, stay connected, and stay oriented toward love, even when the future feels fragile. Welcome to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. I woke up Saturday morning to the news that the United States bombed Venezuela. I don't even know how to talk about that sentence. Did we invade? Did we attack? We didn't declare war. Only Congress can do that. So this is something else, something unnamed. And that feels frightening in its own right. What I do know is this. I was scared, not just for the people of Venezuela, but for all of us. When the ground shifts this quickly and language fails us, it becomes hard to know where we are or where we're headed. When fear shows up like this, my instinct is either to look away or to reach for certainty that I don't actually have. But I've noticed something. Every time the future feels most fragile, I return to the same question. Not what's going to happen, but how do we live when we don't know what's going to happen? Living in the midst of uncertainty. And that's what this episode is about. Not answers, but orientation. Because when we lose certainty, orientation is what keeps us human. When events outpace our ability to make meaning, fear is a reasonable response. We're disoriented. We don't know what's going to happen next. And in that fear space, we're tempted to look away, to numb out, or to create a simple narrative that makes us feel better. I'm reminded of an exercise we did in a writing class a few months ago. The instructor showed us a simple video, just lines, squiggles, and dots, and asked what it meant. We immediately began creating meaning. We told stories where there were no stories to begin with. That's what humans do. We create meaning to make sense of our world, especially when we feel like we're lost at sea. And sometimes when we feel disoriented, we'll believe someone else simply because they appear to know what to do or what comes next. A former pastor used to say, "We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know who holds tomorrow." For some, that belief offered real grounding, a sense of being carried through uncertainty. That never quite landed for me. But what does bring me comfort is something slightly different. The sense that we are loved, held in compassion, even when the future remains uncertain. I don't need certainty about what's coming to feel held. I need to feel at my very core that I'm not facing the unknown future by myself. Craving certainty and stability is profoundly human, but the world we live in, especially in our current time, is deeply uncertain. Learning to live in the midst of this uncertainty is an art, or maybe it's a practice, a skill we can learn. Instead of creating stories that force meaning when there isn't any, we can let uncertainty sit in our midst. We can admit we don't know what will happen next, and that the odds of something good are just as real as the odds of something bad, depending on how you define good and bad. But there's another way of handling uncertainty. It's hope. Hope, in moments like this, isn't a feeling. It's a decision. A decision about how much of ourselves we're willing to give away to fear. Hope is a refusal to let fear write the story, a refusal to see only one outcome. And most importantly, a refusal to shrink our imagination. A few months ago, I recorded an episode called "The Future Is Not Yet Written." And I keep finding myself back in that truth, not because it's comforting, but because it's necessary. Hope requires imagination, not as escape, but as resistance. Once we imagine a different future, we can take actions to move toward it. If we don't imagine something better, we inherit whatever fear designs for us. Our expectations shape the outcomes we receive, both individually and collectively. If you've ever been in a small group of people and one person speaks doom and gloom about what's coming, you can feel the heaviness settle in. And the reverse is true as well. It's not that hope is contagious, it's that the vision behind that hope is. Imagining a better future isn't naive. It's how better futures begin. That vision can move beyond the confines of a small group and into the wider world. We can imagine a future where every person is honored for the full range of who they are, not just what society happens to value, but every aspect of our humanness. In a world of doomsayers, hope is radical resistance because it insists the future is still open. Another episode I keep returning to is "We Are the Heroes We've Been Waiting For." Because when fear is loud, we're tempted to wait for rescue. But rescue doesn't arrive from the sky. It shows up beside us. The heroes in our world are standing next to us. Our ability to imagine a better world becomes real only when we take action, when ordinary people choose love together. The first step is refusing to fall into the doomsday trap. Breathe. Listen to what your conscience says about how you want to move through the world and what you want the world to be. Then take your empathy and move it outward. Help someone. Find your contribution. Let the small acts you take ripple beyond what you can see. Hope doesn't wait. Hope moves through people. No one gets to opt out of responsibility, but no one carries it alone. To be honest, I fall into fear far more than I want. Fear is a natural response to our circumstances. I can imagine bleak futures, and I feel the way my body tenses up when I do. But fear isn't a viable place for any of us to stay. It doesn't help my own well-being, and it certainly doesn't help the future I want to help create. So I return again and again to hope, not as an escape, but as a practice, a way of staying human, a way of staying connected. I don't know what the future holds. I can't map out what comes next. But I do know this. I'm not facing it alone. And neither are you. The future isn't waiting for us to be without fear. It's waiting for people willing to choose love and carry that love forward together. We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.